Anuire lies along the southern coast of Cerilia, wrapped around the Straits of Irel and the Sea of Storms. For nearly 1,000 years it formed the core of the Anuirean Empire, ruled in Helen's name from the Imperial City. After the fall of the last Roele emperor, the old imperial provinces hardened into independent realms, each ruled by a blooded lord who inherited a fragment of that legacy. Imperial roads still link these domains. Old charters and decrees are preserved in every court, and the Anuirean tongue, faith and law remain the standard for much of Cerilia. But where one emperor once ruled from the center, power is now divided among princes, dukes, counts, and guildmasters who command their own provinces and ambitions. The Imperial City stands on an island in the Straits of Aeril, joined to the mainland by massive causeways built in the high days of Empire. Its harbor takes ships from Brektur, Kinazi ports, and distant Reduric traders. Within its walls lie the palaces of ancient noble houses, the great temples of Ilien and Cerilia, and the Hall of the Iron Throne itself. The city is formally administered by the Chamberlain of the Imperial Court, whose office survived the death of the last emperor. The Chamberlain maintains imperial ceremonies, records, and heraldry, but issues no decrees of his own. Regents from across Anuire still send envoys to treat there, and disputes are sometimes submitted to the Chamberlain's judgment, though he has no armies to enforce his decisions. Around the city lie the old imperial heartlands. Much of this territory is now divided between neighboring realms, but the immediate lands around the capital remain a small, neutral province, maintained largely through tariffs and trade. Former imperial holdings such as Diemed still preserve the structure of ancient provincial governance, with counts and lesser nobles tracing their titles to imperial grants. In practice, these lords now rule as independent princes, though many still use imperial offices and styles in their courts. On the western coast, two realms dominate Anuirean politics, Avanil and Boeruine. Both began as powerful duchies in the last centuries of the empire, and both claim ancient rights and bloodlines that place them near the head of Helen's faithful. Avanil controls fertile lowlands, rich ports, and much of the maritime trade through the Straits of Roele. Its current prince, Darian Avan, descends from one of the greatest imperial generals and claims the strongest single bloodline of Helen in the region. Avanil maintains close ties with major temples of Ilien and Cerilia, and its fleets regularly patrol the southern seas. Many lesser realms look to Avanil for mediation and support, giving the prince considerable influence beyond his borders. To the northwest lies Boeruine, a rugged coastal realm bordering the tailshore and facing Brektur across the waters. Archduke Eric Boeruine descends from a house that guarded the empire's northern approaches for centuries. Boeruine fields strong fleets and disciplined border troops, and controls important northern trade routes. Its nobility values traditional imperial law and views Avanil's rise with suspicion, insisting that Boeruine's claims to preeminence are at least as old. The rivalry between Avanil and Boeruine shapes much of western Anuire. Neither declares open war lightly, but both maneuver for allies, temple support, and control of trade. Smaller realms along the Sea of Storms and Tailshore must constantly balance between them, trading oaths and favors to preserve their own independence. East of the heartlands, the plains slope toward harsher frontiers. Here stand realms that grew from old imperial marches, provinces charged with guarding the empire's borders against monsters, Voss raiders, and the domain of the Gorgon. Ghoere descends from a stern provincial command that once enforced imperial order across several neighboring regions. Its current ruler, Baron Tael of Ghoere, wields a strong bloodline and rules with rigid discipline from the fortress city of Balain. Ghoere has absorbed or broken several smaller neighbors and maintains one of the largest standing armies in Anuire. Though it claims to uphold Helen's law, Its expansionist policy alarms many surrounding realms. To the north lies Mhoried, the traditional warder of the Gorgon's frontier. Its ruler, the Mhor, is both king and war warden, responsible for the defense of the Sea Mist Mountains and the Stone Crowns against the Gorgon's forces. Castles, towers, and ancient ward stones line its northern marches, many built in the earliest days of empire. Mhoried's nobles regard their duty as a sacred charge. They often cooperate with distant realms against common threats, even when they disagree on politics elsewhere. Between and around these two stand lesser eastern states, some descended from old imperial vassals, others carved out after the empire's fall. Their lords must reckon both with Ghoere's ambitions and the perpetual danger from the north. Old imperial roads, abandoned forts and ruined battlefields dot the landscape, reminders that these lands have long been the shield of southern Cerilia. South of the Imperial City, the coast is divided among smaller but influential realms whose power rests on harbors, temples, and trade. Diemed was once a major imperial province, administering much of the southern shore. Its current count, Herald Diemed, still holds many of the old titles and claims authority over lands that have long since slipped away. Diemed's rulers lean heavily on their connection to conservative branches of the faith of Ilien, and often invoke ancient charters to justify their policies, though their actual strength has diminished over time. To the east, the compact city realm of Ilien occupies a rich harbor at the mouth of the Maysil, ruled by Roele and Endier, a blooded mage and regent. Ilien combines maritime trade with arcane influence. Its walls and alliances have so far kept larger neighbors at bay. Ilien's position makes it a natural meeting point for merchants and diplomats from Anuire, Birthright, and Kinazi states. Farther north along the coast, Endier controls a key crossing of river and road. Once only a prosperous Anuirean city, it has evolved into a small but wealthy domain under Gilder Kalien, a regent whose power comes from guilds, contracts, and information rather than armies. Endier's neutrality and financial reach allow it to play host to secret negotiations and trade agreements that affect realms far larger than itself. Along this southern stretch, temples of Ilien, Cerilia, and Cera share influence with merchant guilds and smaller noble houses. The imperial legacy appears here in legal codes, harbor regulations, and enduring ties to the old priesthoods. But day-to-day power often lies with those who can command coin and ships rather than legions. The Anuirean realms no longer answer to a single emperor, but they remain bound by shared institutions and memory. Imperial charters still hang on audience hall walls, ancient oaths and rivalries still shape borderlines. Bloodlines traced to the age of Roele still decide who may rule. Avanil and Boeruine contest influence in the west. Ghoere and Mhoried stand watch in the east, and smaller coastal domains work through trade and diplomacy to hold their place between them. Though the Iron Throne stands empty in the Imperial City, the structures it once commanded still define the heart of Cerilia. Every regent in Anuire governs in the shadow of the old empire, whether seeking to revive its unity, resist its memory, or simply survive among its ruins. In the next episode, the story leaves these temperate plains and crowded coasts for the wild north. We journey into the Rivalry Highlands, faith of the north, a land of deep forests, harsh seas, and clan-held kingdoms, where druidic circles and warrior kings guard a different vision of balance and duty.